Hey Gulash, welcome to my applied movement mechanics video. To start, the glenohumeral joint, the abduction and the adduction in the transversal plane with the superior inferior movement of the vertical axis. Lumbar spine with lateral flexion in the frontal plane, lateral movement in the sagittal axis. Shoulder girdle, you have your protraction and retraction in the horizontal plane, anterior and posterior movement of the sagittal axis. Knee flexion uh, and extension in the sagittal plane, medial lateral movement in the front axis. Hip flexion and hip extension in the sagittal plane, medial lateral movement in the frontal axis.
All right. Tensegrity is a combination of two words. It's both tension and integrity. It kind of refers to the strength or integrity of structures as being based on the balance of tension and compression components. This can be applied to the human body. For example, the pushing and pulling of forces between fascia and muscle on opposing side of a bone either hold a body part in place or move a body part. This is described as a synergy between push and pull forces. This kind of applies with Newton's law as well. Kind of the first law of Newton's law is an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by unbalanced force. An object in motion continues in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by unbalanced force. So this is kind of the law of inertia. So if I have a phone and I don't act upon it, just kind of hold it, it will stay there. It's the same with the body. If I don't add extra force into my body for a movement, it will just kind of sit there at rest. The second law is the law of acceleration. So this means there's a natural tendency of objects to keep on doing what they're doing. All objects resist change in their state of motion in the absence of unbalanced force. So basically an object in motion will maintain the state of motion. So in order to accelerate an object, it happens when you produce a force that acts on a mass. So if I act on this phone, it will move, mass will move of the object, and the greater the force, so if I flick it pretty slowly, the phone will only go a certain distance. If I flick it faster, the phone will accelerate at a greater rate. The third law is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So this means that for every force there is a reaction that is equal in size but in opposite direction. So if I push on this table, the table kind of resists due to friction and kind of pushes back if I don't apply enough force to overcome the friction. So that kind of describes transgravity. Thanks.